Sorry about that, hit the wrong button. So, in 1913, Austria quietly moved in and annexed Bosnia Herzegovina, that little dinky strip of land right there. The Serbians were not happy about it. Quite frankly, the Bosnians were not happy about it either. They wanted to be their own country. This is really where the problem begins. Austria Hungary is kind of a mess. By the early 20th century, they're a gigantic empire smack dab in the middle of Europe, made up of people who hate each other. There's 11 different nationalities, I think, within the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they just don't get along. But the only thing they have in common is, for the most part, they're almost all Roman Catholic. But they don't appreciate being governed by basically Germans. In order to ease tensions in the area, the Emperor Franz Joseph decides to send his eldest son and heir to the throne, the Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie, on a goodwill visit. They are going to drive in their car through the streets, and they're going to wave at people and hand out flowers and this kind of stuff. And there'll be bands and, you know, parties and all that kind of stuff that makes people feel good. And the idea of this is to just sort of just tone things down a little bit and show the Bosnians that the Serbians really, or that the Austrians really just want the best for them. Now, unfortunately for Franz Ferdinand, there are a group of Bosnian nationalists who are more or less connected to a Serbian terrorist group known as the Black Hand. And they are planning to kill Franz Ferdinand. And they successfully assassinate him, although it's kind of an accident. Um, Franz Ferdinand and his wife, and I'll post the little videos that we watched in class, were driving down the street when one of these Serbian kids, or Bosnian kids, I mean, they're essentially just like high school age kids, threw a bomb into the car, and the bomb got chucked out of the car and blew up some innocent bystanders. And this really shook the Archduke, obviously. But he was determined to go through with his assignment, and he decided that he was going to go visit the hospital where some of the people who were injured by the bomb blast were taken. So, as they're driving down the street, he informs his automobile driver that that's exactly what they're going to be doing. The driver accidentally turns down a dead end road. At the end of this dead end street is a small cafe where a member of the Black Hand, a kid named Gabriel Principe, is eating a sandwich. And as the car pulls up, Principe pulls down his sandwich, and while the car's trying to back up, he walks up and shoots Franz Ferdinand and Sophie, assassinating both of them. Not that big of an issue. I mean, it's sad that people died, but it's not like this was some earth shattering event for most people. It was reported as a minor issue in most of the world's major newspapers. Just a small incident that happened in a area of the world where there was always fighting, killing, and assassinations going on. And to be perfectly honest, the emperor really didn't even like his son that much. Archduke Franz Ferdinand was kind of a schlub. He was sort of a millennial minus a video game system. Didn't really do much, didn't have much ambition, was not particularly handsome, and really didn't care two licks about making anything of himself. He just figured he was going to be emperor, so what was the big deal? Um, this goodwill visit was an effort to try to boost up his stature as a politician and a ruler of some merit. And he dies, not fully his fault. So the question is, how do you handle this? Austria decides, with the encouragement of Germany, to demand that Serbia give up a huge chunk of its territory in reparation and in payment for the assassination. Now, to be fair here and to be very clear, the only connection that Serbia actually had with this assassination is that the terrorist group were Serbians and that the gun that killed Franz Ferdinand was a Serbian gun. But it's not like the government of Serbia had anything to do with this directly. The demands, quite frankly, were unreasonable given what happened. And the threat was that if you don't give us what we want, we will invade you. Serbia refuses to give in to Austria. Austria declares war on Serbia, which is precisely what the Germans really wanted. And we'll talk more about the bigger picture of that tomorrow. Peace and love.